गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We are in Vivek Chudamani. We have to start from verse number 428. In the 528. In the 527th verse we saw that तूष्णीम अवस्था परमोपशांति बुद्धे रसत्कल्प विकल्प हेतोः ब्रह्मात्मना ब्रह्मविदो महात्मनो यत्र अद्वयानंद सुखम निरंतरम. How is this? Who is this Brahmatmana? This, the one who is established in Brahman, he who has come to see, experience without experience of what? That the Atma and the Paramatma or the Brahman are one and the same. They call it there is no difference between the Atma and the Paramatma. And such a person, Brahmatmana Brahmavido Mahatmano, he continuously revels in the bliss of the non-duality. And how does he brought that about? Tushnim avastha paramopashantihi. Why quite Tushnim is a very similar, is a moment or is a happening wherein your mind is completely introvert and it has not got absorbed, but it is not available to the world also. It is absolutely indifferent to all the stimuli. And this period of Tushnim Avastha is available to us many times during the day, but two main periods are when we are about to fall into sleep and when we just wake up. When we are still lying in the bed, we are awake, eyes are closed, our position is locked, but we know we are awake. So those two are the Tushnim Avastha, wherein if you can recognize it at that time, instead of starting activity, you remain aware of what? Be conscious of the one who is witnessing that. At that time the mind is plentifully, mind meaning intellect here, the intellect is absolutely free from any corruption whatsoever. And when the intellect is free from all corruption, from all dirt, from all extrovertedness, in other words, is free from all thoughts, at that time whoever is there, that you are. Because we don't accept ourselves, and everyone has this experience, because we don't accept ourselves as we are, therefore the interaction with the world begins and we start desiring the world. So the whole world is where is the entire world? The entire world is only known by the intellect. It has got the conviction that the world is. It has got the conviction that there is waking, dream and deep sleep. The intellect itself is going through these three states. See? Taking the position of the waker, dreamer and sleeper and projecting through the mind the waking world and the dream world and the absence of the two. See? But when this intellect comes face to face with the self. Meaning, I think I gave this example last week, when the waves in the waters have calmed down, then you have not created the full reflection of the moon. It was already there, but it was covered by the waves. Exactly the same way in our intellect, exactly the same way in our intellect, when the thoughts have subsided, and I gave you the two moments where it is naturally like that. At that time, what whoever is there, that is the real one. Where the idea that I am this body, I cannot be without the breath, etc., all this has not started yet, and therefore uh, uh, the intellect is being like a mirror in which the self is abundantly, as it is, reflecting uh, in the intellect. See, and that is, and buddhehe rasat kalpa vikalpa hetoho. What is that? It is in this buddhi, asat, uh, 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 asat kalpa, the imagination of the non-truth. Kalpa is kalpana. Kalpana means imagination. So asat kalpa means imagination of the false. What is false? Everything other than the truth is false. Everything other than the self is not self. And it is this intellect which starts imagining and starts rasa, it starts enjoying the not self, meaning the desires. And desires are always about, most of the time it is about the world. Because if it is about the self, then that desire will conclude permanently. And vikalpa hetoho, and intellect is the cause of the imaginations, convictions, concepts, options, judgments, biasness. The variety that you are seeing is all because the intellect is there. But he who has tushnim avastha paramopashanti, he who has come to this tushnim avastha, this state of indifference, and as a result of that, the intellect has become what? Parama shanti. It has become completely quiet. Such a person is Brahmatmana, Mahatmana. Now continuing in the 528th verse, Nasti nirvasanan maunat, Nasti nirvasanan maunat, Param sukha kruduttamam, Param sukha kruduttamam, Vijñātātmasvarūpasya, Vijñātātmasvarūpasya. Please mute yourself. Swanandarasapayinaha, Swanandarasapayinaha, Nasti nirvasanan maunat, Param sukha kruduttamam, Vijñātātmasvarūpasya, Swanandarasapayinaha. He who has recognized his essential self and ever tasting the bliss, for him there is nothing more than the desireless silence which is supreme bliss. Nasti nirvasanan maunat param sukha kruduttamam. Uttamam, the bestest. What is that bestest? Say, vasana are the subconscious impressions which are erupting. So how have they become not? By Maunat param sukhakrudottama. By continuously exposing our mind to the supreme silence, uttamam, the bestest silence. So another meditation is listen to silence. Listen to silence. Okay. We are afraid of silence. Therefore, we collect people around us. We want to continuously be at the sensory level. If not at the sensory level, we want to continuously imagine. We only know one thing, that to be in silence means to go to sleep. We are not able to hold on to the wakefulness when the silence begins. We want to continuously fill it up, fill it up, fill it up, or remain in ignorance about it, which is deep sleep. Watch this about yourself. Every day, every half an hour, take out 1 minute, 2 minutes, sit in absolute silence, not looking at anything, not hearing anything, just sit in silence, not allowing anything in this world or inside, the thoughts, emotions, ideas, concepts, projections, to make any impact on you. Just sit silent. Half a minute, 15 seconds, 1 minute. Do this many times a day, whenever there is an opportunity. Once a week we want to sit in meditation, or once a day in the morning we want to sit in the meditation, or in the evening we want to sit in the meditation. Okay. It's not a one-time event. Maybe at that time when you have fixed your timings, your mind is not cooperating. You have just come out of a fight with your partner. Maybe you have just driven for 1 hour and then you have come, oh my God, oh, but my time is for meditation. And you sit. What? You are already hyper after driving. Or after food you want to sit for meditation. Then tamas takes over, lethargy takes over. So instead of doing half an hour, 1 hour sitting and feeling miserable, do half minute sessions of exposing yourself to silence, to be the silence, to remain in silence, without expecting anything, without shunning away anything, rejecting anything, and without retaining anything. Okay. And half a minute is not too long. You know it's going to be over soon. So it's not a big ask for your intellect. So it cooperates. Slowly that half a minute will become 1 minute. That 1 minute will become 5 minutes. And slowly, without your knowledge, you start enjoying being in silence. The most unfortunate people are those who don't enjoy their own company. People who don't like to be alone, don't enjoy being alone. Because when you are alone, you are with yourself. Those who don't enjoy being alone, they become lonely. And to remove the loneliness, we keep interacting with the world. Learn to enjoy your own company. See? And when we are, and why we feel lonely and why it becomes a problem? Because our mind is continuously talking to us. It's bringing the past, it's bringing the anxiety of the future. And as a result, it's better I watch TV, it's better I watch the shows, it's better I do something rather than sit in silence. Because, oh, this is terrible movie going on in my mind. See? Then it leads to loneliness, because we have not learned We are not practiced how to handle the mind. So do it in small, small doses so that you start getting the taste of it. See? And once you get the taste of it, it will automatically, exponentially keep sucking you into that silence, because you are that. You will enjoy your own company. Mind will enjoy being in silence because it is in the presence of the self at that moment. Silence means no thoughts. He who has recognized his essential self and ever tasting the bliss, for him there is nothing more than the desireless silence. So there is no, as I said, accept everything, reject nothing, retain nothing. That is the disposition. Desire means thought. And if thought comes, that complete reflection, already it has become two. Second wave comes, it has become three. Three pieces of that complete reflection. And it goes on and on and on and on. That's why Raman Maharishi used to remain in silence for so long. He didn't care. We are worried. If you remain in silence, what will the husband or the wife say? What will the children say? Mummy, you were never like this. Daddy, you were never like this. Why are you so silent? What has happened? Are you okay? Are you losing your mind? Should I take you to mental hospital? Are you afraid of that? Huh? Create such a situation around yourself that you are, everyone, the whole world leaves you alone to be with yourself. Vijnatatma swarupasya. Vijnatatma swarupasya, recognizing the Atma, recognizing the self as my essential nature, not someone else's. So it is not an objective knowledge, it is a direct experience, direct abidance. You are established in yourself as yourself. As long as you are thinking, you are objectively searching it. You're wanting to have an experience. As long as you are searching for sleep, want to abide in sleep, you are thinking of sleep. When sleep happens, then there is no thought of sleep in the mind. Exactly the same way, as long as I am thinking of the self, as long as there is a thought that I want to abide in the self, I am the self, I am the self, till then the thought waves are there, silence is not there. When complete silence is, then alone the self reveals. When there are no waves on the ocean, then alone the moon, which was already reflecting, reveals itself in its entirety. Swananda rasa payina, such a person, having come to know his own essential nature to be the Atma, and Swananda, this again, it came in the 525th verse, again it is coming. Rasa payinaha, payinaha, he drinks the nectar. Rasa is the nectar of bliss of the self. So having come to know his essential nature to be the self, and how does he come to know this? Without thoughts. By being it, he continues to drink. Now these are contradictory language. If now he is not there, so how can he drink? By being it. How do you drink the bliss of sleep? by being in the sleep. The same way, Swananda here, it is conscious. He is conscious of his own essential nature. Continuing. Gachan tishthanupavishan chhayo vanyathapi va. Gachan tishthanupavishan chhayano vanyathapi va. Yathechaya vased vidvan. Yathechaya vased vidvan. Atma Rama sada munihi. Atma Rama sada munihi. Gachan tishthannupavishan chhano vanyathapi va. Yathechaya vased vidvan. Atma Rama sada munihi. It is but natural for the contemplative master, ever reveling in the self, to remain as he pleases, whether walking, sitting, awake, or in any other state. See, who is a realized master? Muni, Sada Muni. Who is this Muni? Who is this realized master? He is he who is Swatantra. Swatantra means he is ever free. Nothing can bind him down. No space, time, objectivity, that will come afterwards. Space, but nothing, nobody can tell him what to do and what not to do. And therefore they ask, they find themselves not to be part of the family. They move away because it will become a big, difficult, hard task for the family members to handle them because they are so independent. They don't listen to anyone's diktats, anyone's orders. They only listen to the order of the divine from within. See? And that's why people call them eccentric. People call them mad. You know, what are the words? Balavat, Unmattavat, Pishachavat. The child doesn't listen to your orders because he doesn't have the intelligence. You listen to him. If he cries, you come. If he is happy, you come. If he has done poo poo shoo shoo, you go and change. He is just... Then Unmattavat. Unmattavat is the person who is intoxicated. So intoxicated person also is pardoned. He is intoxicated, he is mad. Leave him alone. He is not taken seriously. And Pishachavat. Pishachavat we can say mad. Unmattavat is intoxicated. See? So this fellow, this master, he is what? Gachan Tishtan. Gachan, going, Tishtan, sitting, standing, Upavishan, sitting, and Chano, waking, sleeping, etc. Yathe Chaya, Vased Vidwan. Whatever he wishes to do, he does. Oh, but you said he doesn't have any desire, so how can he wish anything? Good question. Yatechaya. He doesn't wish, but it is an inner push. Like, now we are living at a very different level where, but whenever desire comes, we don't say that I had. After the desire comes, then we say I have that desire, or I feel like eating the ice cream. I feel like listening to satsang. I feel like going to sleep. After you become aware of that desire, then you voice it out. This is not the case in the case of Mahatma. He is ever free. He lives spontaneously and for no reason. We do everything for a reason. We have come to satsang for a reason. We go to sleep to rejuvenate. We eat food to nourish. We wake up so that we can do our duties. We can do our sandhya. We can do our puja. We can go to work. Or because I don't want to be lazy, so I get up early at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. And what do? Again go back to sleep after shower. ऐसे भी लोग हैं. See? But this master, he does it spontaneously. There is no reason. There is no expectation of anything. There is no running away from anything. Because this Atma Rama, for he is ever reveling, he is ever resting. Whether if you take Atma Rama, who is ever reveling in his self, he does whatever comes spontaneously from within. If he is sitting in one place, he may be sitting there for days together. If he eats, some days he will not eat only, but other days he will eat like he can eat for 10 people, for 20 people. He creates a racket if he doesn't get food on time, wherever he has gone. And when the food comes after all the drama that he has done, and then he gives it away to a dog, like Shirdi Sai Baba did. Without a thought, just straight away. The dog came, here, take it. Like Gajanan Maharaj, whether he is drinking from the gutters or eating from from the garbage pile, it does not matter to him, because for him everything is auspicious. There is only auspiciousness for him. Therefore nothing matters. For us who are body identified, for us there is auspiciousness, inauspiciousness, blessing, no blessing, good and bad, healthy and not healthy, holy, unholy. See, this is all the game of the mind to keep itself in the loop of duality. He has become free of the loop. He has become free of the duality. See, like the astronauts now, just now, the astronauts have gone to the ISS space station. As long as they were on Earth, every day they are exposed to day and night, day and night, day and night. If they had gone from America, right now there is scorching summer going on there. They just come out of winter, then and they are exposed to the 6 seasons. Now they are gone to the to the space outside the Earth's atmosphere. Are they exposed to the 6 seasons now? No. Are they exposed to the day and night cycle every 24 hours? No. Then what are they exposed to? I think they go around 15 times around the Earth in one day in that space station. So they get 15 days and 15 nights in one day. See, it's completely different. So just like do they experience gravity? No. Do they experience rainfall? No. All the rules of the earth are no more applicable to them once they are in space. Exactly the same way, this great master, he who has become free from the gravity of body identification. And when I say body identification, the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body, the five sheaths. He has become free from that gravity. Will he be living at the level of this? Like we are, 3 times a day, maybe 5 times a day, eating, sleeping, waking, dreaming, creating associations, satisfying our desires, going through Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, attending satsangs, because we want to realize. Does he have a desire to realize? No. Because Atma Rama Sada Munihi, such a great sage, such a master, he is revealing in his own essential nature the Atma. No one can dictate such a person what to do and what not to do. He is Swatantra. न देश कालासनादिक न देश कालासनादिक यमादि न देश कालासनदिग्यमादि लक्ष्याद्यपेक्षा प्रतिबद्ध वृत्ते लक्ष्याद्यपेक्षा प्रतिबद्ध वृत्ते संसिद्ध तत्वस्य महात्मनोऽस्ति संसिद्ध तत्वस्य महात्मनोऽस्ति स्ववेदनेका नियमाद्यपेक्षा स्ववेदनेका नियमाद्यपेक्षा न देशकालासनदिग्यमादि लक्ष्याद्यपेक्षा प्रतिबद्धवृत्तेः संसिद्ध तत्वस्य महात्मनोऽस्ति स्ववेदनेका नियमाद्यपेक्षा. He whose mind is self-oriented and as a result who is established in the self, for such a great master the do's and don'ts such as with reference to place, time, asan, direction, yama, niyama, etc. are of no value. Do we require any rules and discipline to know oneself? Do we require any light in order to know the sun? Oh, let me take the candle. I want to see where the sun is. Let me take the torch. I will put the torch on the sun and then you will be able to see the sun. Do we need the light? We are in a dark room, no light whatsoever, pitch dark, and someone calls, "Hey, are you there?" No, I don't know if I'm there. Let me put the torch on, then I'll tell you if I'm there or not. Do you need that? We all know we are there. We don't need any light. Just like the sun doesn't need any light. Therefore, the great master, yes, in the initial stages when we begin our journey as a seeker, we need the various supports. But one who is established in the self as the self, he doesn't need any more support to remain there. Doesn't need any support. No, I need to do pranayam in order to know the self. Oh, I need to do contemplation in order to know the self. No. Once you have known the self, that's it, full stop. Then there's no falling back. It's unlike our waking dream and deep sleep. You fall into sleep, but you get thrown out of sleep. Then you fall into waking, then you're thrown out of waking. Then you fall into dream, you are thrown out of dream. So everywhere you are thrown out only. Get thrown out of the body identification once and for all, and fall into the self. And once you fall into the self as the self, fall back into the self, if I may use that, then there is no throwing out after that. You will remain there only. So here he says, the place, first is Desha. Desha is place. Oh, if I go to Himalayas, I will be able to meditate better. If I go to ashram, I will be that is a good conducive place. Or a temple is a conducive place. No. Everywhere the Lord is. This is the experience of the master. But for a seeker, yes, initial stages, he needs to cultivate or be in a place which is conducive for meditation for himself. See, like I have the mala. If I see this mala, if I touch this and I start doing japa, then there will be no lecture. The moment I touch it and start doing the japa, everything stops. So it's always in the pocket. See? Same way. A conducive place where you go again and again and again and again and sit in the same place, you're creating a vibration which is conducive. After all the running around in the world, you come because you are a seeker. So when you come to that seat, immediately you feel at home. Automatically everything starts happening. It starts happening only because you have cultivated it yourself that way. You have put value to that space, that it is in front of the altar, that it is comfortable, that it is holy. You respect it, you don't kick it, you keep it clean. Then kala, time. For the master, he is all the time reveling in the self. So, therefore, these conditionings are not for him. So, should a seeker also behave like it does not matter? No, he must cultivate. In the initial stages, he must. If you set a time, in the morning, afternoon, evening, if you are at home nowadays, or at least morning and evening. See? So the mind, just like your mind is already programmed. Oh, now it is, Swamiji will speak till 9 o'clock. By 9:30, I will have a cup of tea or a cup of milk and change into my night clothes, and I will go to sleep. Or maybe I'll go to lie in the bed, read a few, some book or something for a half a page or a page, and then glide into sleep. You are programmed. Every day you want to go and do the same thing. Same way when we start, and every day at 10 o'clock the sleep comes. I know one person every day at 10 o'clock, in whichever house he may be in, party, no party, didn't care. 10 o'clock he'll say, "Where's your bedroom?" There. He'll go to sleep. Wake me up when the time is ready for you guys to go. 10 o'clock he has to sleep. Used to get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. But he cultivated that. Before he was not like that. But when he started doing meditation, then that became, and he didn't want to compromise with it. See? So same way, for a seeker to fix a time to come to the seat of meditation, already the mind is expecting that I'm going to go there and I will be in silence. Or I'll do my pranayam and do my japa and do my contemplation and be in meditation. If that is the sequence that you have set for yourself. So it's already, okay, what's next? Just like we have lunch in the breakfast in the morning at 8 o'clock, automatically at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, the stomach feels hungry for the next meal. I used to eat 3-4 times a day. Now I'm eating only twice a day. And I cultivated the new habit. And no more hunger in the morning. Till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, no, the pangs of hunger don't come only. But at 12 o'clock, after 11:30, I feel, oh, I must have, where's food? So before that happens, I go to the kitchen or invite myself somewhere. You see? So it becomes an automatic thing, kala. So set a time for yourself, and during those periods, you are automatically sucked into meditation or japa, etc. Then posture. Now, what posture Ramana Maharshi used to have? No posture. He used to sit like this, sit anywhere, with any position. Akhandanandji Maharaj used to lie down like this. Shankar Maharaj used to sit on his hips with the both legs up, folded, and he used to hold both the legs like this because he had very long arms below his knees. He used to hold them like that, and that was his normal position, always against a wall or a tree or something. But what posture? Yet, as a seeker, we must begin with, we are good copycats. Oh, because that Mahatma, I am a devotee of that Mahatma used to sit like this, so I will also sit like this. Oh, Ramana Maharshi used to lie down and sit in silence. I will also lie down and remain in silence. It doesn't, copying someone doesn't work. And moreover, Ramana Maharshi did not begin that way. You are seeing the end result. You see? So when he talks about posture as asana, as a seeker, we must have a proper asana. We must sit in cross-leg position. We must keep our back, neck and head in a straight line. We must do a little bit of pranayam. We must keep our hands on our lap or in the interlocked on the lap, and be comfortable. That is more important. If you can't sit on the floor, then sit on a chair, but sit comfortably. Because when the body is in its perfect posture is that posture wherein we are able to maintain that posture for 1, 2, 3 hours without getting disturbed. That is posture. See, our problem, our misery is we sit for meditation maybe 15-20 minutes. Out of that 15 minutes go into maintain, now after pranayam, after doing something, and now the posture is straight. And now I will start doing contemplation. And before we start doing contemplation, suddenly the 20-minute stamina is over. And then, okay, now what to do? We don't have enough time to delve deep into the contemplative thoughts. Allow them, allowing them to take root of in our mind. See, for that you need a silent posture, a comfortable posture, an undisturbed posture. I'm talking merely from the seeker's point of view at a very gross level. True posture is he who is sitting in happiness, he is truly sitting. That is the definition of Patanjali Maharaj. But we are not, we are seeking that place, that posture is sitting in the self, but we want to get there. So when we cultivate this posture, where the energies are continuously moving upwards, we are happy about our posture, the more erect our spine is, the more integrated the energies become, and as a result, when contemplation begins, meditation begins, or I will say contemplation begins, we are able to dive deep in that contemplation for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, undisturbed. At least at the physical level, we are not disturbed. And slowly, then the breath also settles down. And as the contemplation goes deeper and deeper, the mind also settles down. See? So these should not be thrown away because, I don't want to read the rest of the Vivek Chudamani. It said that the master doesn't need space, time. So I will also follow him. No, not like that. It doesn't work that way. It must happen. It must happen. Like many people whom I come across, brahmacharis, they will say, we read J. Krishnamurti, he said, you don't need a guru and this and that. Everyone is self-realized. But when did he say that? Towards the end of his life. All his life he had teachers. Now that he's established in himself, he's roaring away, you don't need a teacher. Osho did the same. Every realized master says the same, because he has realized that he the disciple and the guru are one and the same. See? Disciple vanishes and only guru remains. That is realization. Naturally. Now I don't need any guru. But how did he get there? With the support of all the teachers, support of the scriptures, support of masters, support of asana, support of time, space, support of something or the other. You are also taking the support of the thoughts to dive into sleep, isn't it? Only to give up the thoughts. If they helped you so to go into bliss of sleep, why don't you hold on to them? Why do you leave them? Exactly the same way. All these must be understood in the correct manner. Then the third is dik, that is Desha, Kala, Asana, Dig. Dig means directions. East, west, north, south, northwest, southwest, northwest, east, southeast. 8 directions. Where should we face? As a beginner, it is so paramount. Wherever the sun rises, there I must face. I must do my sadhana only facing the east. I must do if I am doing my sadhana in the evening, I must face the north. Where is north, south, east, west for the person who is in the outside Earth's gravity, outside Earth's atmosphere? Nowhere. Exactly the same way. Same scriptures say, wherever you face, that is east. Wherever you face, that is east. It is not where the sun rises that is east. Because sun doesn't rise and sun doesn't set. Sun is fixed in one place. So which one are you? The one who accepts the sun rises and sets, or the one who accepts that he is the Atma and he is the illuminator of the sun, and therefore wherever this Atma faces, that is east. Now what will you do? Find out tomorrow morning when you do the puja. If this question comes, then ping me. Swamiji, there was no problem. Or there was confusion. Which way I should face? Different people from different religion, they choose their own direction. But Mahatma, who is this Mahatma? He who is all pervasive. Just like space is everywhere, there are no directions in the space. This Mahatma is the one who's pervading that space even. See? Once. So, do we require any rules and disciplines to know oneself? Yes and no. As a seeker, you do need. If you feel you are identified with the body, if you feel you are having doubts, if you feel that you need to do something in order to realize, you need rules and regulations. Self-realization is not a result of doing. Self-realization is our natural state. It is the ego which wants to do something in order to self-realize. See? And once the seeker has realized his essential nature, then all these rules of time, space, objectivity, and asan, directions, etc., all of them become nullified. For such a master, there are no do's and don'ts with regards to anything. Even scriptures refrain themselves from dictating how he should or should not behave, because that jurisdiction is out of the scope of scriptures. Scriptures are at the Prakriti level. The master has realized that which the scriptures are only indicating, and therefore scriptures can't dictate. Then 531st verse, Ghato yamiti vignatum niyama konvapekshate vina pramana sushtutvam yasmin sati padartadhihi यस्मिन् सति पदार्थधीः घटोऽयमिति विज्ञातुं नियमः कोऽन्वपेक्ष्यते विना प्रमाणसुष्ठुत्वं यस्मिन् सति पदार्थधीः. This is a pot. To know this, other than the required means of knowledge, what is essential and what rules and regulations are valuable. This is a laptop. What do you need? It is direct perception. Eyes are seeing the laptop, story over. Do I need a magnifying glass to see? Do I need colored glasses to see? Do I need to break with a hammer and then see if it is a laptop? Do I need any means to see the laptop, or direct perception is enough? See? Means are required when the perception is faulty. If I take my glasses out and now I want to see the laptop, I can see the laptop with the edges a bit blurred, and I can't see anyone who's there on the screen, including myself. Only a silhouette. But those in the small boxes on the top, no idea. But now, because my perception is faulty, I need glasses. I have taken support of the glasses to correct my vision, and now suddenly everything is correct as it is, isn't it? Exactly the same way. Here we are taking the support. When it comes to the self, everyone is already the self. If everybody is already the self, what support will you take in order to reveal yourself? This is the question. What support will you take in order to reveal yourself? What support will you take in order to reveal that you have the eyes? Oh, I'll take the support of a mirror to reveal that I have the eyes, I've got a nose, I've got the lips, I've got a face, I've got a beard. But if that mirror was not there, will you not be having that? You'll still be having that. Oh, I am taking the support of the thoughts in order to perceive, in order to come to know the self that I am. So if I am taking support of something in order to know who I am, then my disposition is that without support I am not. Is that your experience with regards to your face? That if the mirror is not there, you don't have a face, or what? Remember the previous example in the previous 1 or 2 verses before, that you are in a dark room and someone says, "Hey, are you there?" There is no light, meaning electric light. There is no torch. Are you absent then? Because there is no light. You are still. You can't see your body. You can't see your face. Still you know you are. exactly the same way. When the teacher says, Tattvamasi, that thou art, the student doesn't need to say, yes, I am that. He doesn't need to say that. He just falls into, just is, that's it. He takes the indication of the words of the teacher or the Upanishads. So, घटोयमिति विज्ञातुं नियम कोन्वपेक्ष्यते विना प्रमाण सुष्ठुत्वं यस्मिन् सति here the padartha dhihi. So what rules and regulation, what support, what conditionings, what methodologies, what techniques are required to know the self, understand, recognize that you are self-established, you are self-revealing, you are self-effulgent, you are self-knowing. Only the self can know the self. Only the self can illuminate the self. Only the self can be support of the self. No other means are required. This is the truth about us. Continuing, Ayam Atma Nitya Siddhaha, Ayam Atma Nitya Siddhaha, Pramane Sati Bhasate, Pramane Sati Bhasate, Nadesham Napi Vakalam, Nadesham Vapi na Vakalam, न शुद्धिं वाप्यपेक्षते न शुद्धिं वाप्यपेक्षते अयमात्मा नित्यसिद्धः प्रमाणे सति भासते न देशं नापि वा कालं न शुद्धिं वाप्यपेक्षते. The self now, he says, because the previous verse was a question, what rules and regulations are valuable to know something, to know the self. He says the self is ever established. The moment the means of knowledge are purified, the self is revealed. However, for one's own experience, there are no expectations with reference to time, space or purity, etc. Ayam Atma Nitya Siddhaha. This is Atma. Just like this is a pot. Remember the previous one? Ghatoyamiti. Thus, this is a pot. Full stop. Iti is full stop. Thus. No more discussion required. This is a computer. Full stop. No, this is iPad. Oh, this is 15-inch. Oh, this is 13-inch. Oh, this is mic. This is a Android or a Mac. Or is it this or nah. This is a computer. Full stop. I am Atma. What is your interaction to yourself? What is the interaction of the master with himself? I am Atma. This is Atma. This is his only definition about himself. And that Atma includes everything. Nothing is outside its purview. The thoughts, the concepts, the ideas, the breath, the mind, the emotions, the body, the actions, the world, space, air, fire, water, earth, everything is included in the Atma. This is Atma. This is his conclusion. I am Atma. Nitya Siddhaha. Nitya Either you can take it as eternal or it is always Siddha, self accomplished, self established, Nitya Siddha. This is Atma, and this Atma is self established. Why this is being told? So that we get out of this how do you say, addiction to work out the self. Self is not this plus this equal to this. Self is not this minus this is equal to this. Self is not equal to this divided by this is equal to this. It's not an equation. Therefore, contradictions are given. But when we are working through our intellect, because we have taken the support of the Sankhya Yoga, what is Prakriti? Avidya, Kama, Karma, or Avidya or Maya expresses as the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and then each one goes into making, Tamas goes into making space, air, fire, water, earth, and Rajas goes into making the organs of perception, and the Sattva goes into making the organs of what you call knowledge. And we keep calculating, oh, Prakriti is equal to 27, Prakriti is equal to 36, Prakriti is equal to 7. We are all calculations. Now get out of that calculation. It was necessary at that time. It came in Vivek Chudamani also. Now get out of it. It is not a calculation. You are not equal to calculation. Oh, my father, mother came together, therefore I am. No, you are not because your father, mother came together. Your father, mother came together, they created the body. You entered the body in the 4th or the 5th month. That one you are. Who is that? Find out now.
Alert from Malwarebytes agent. Version update available.
It's asking me to upgrade my version. Huh? So we entered. So which one are we? Are we the son? Are we the parent? Are we the husband? If we are remaining in those relative roles, very difficult to come to know the self. Because the gravity of those roles is very, very strong. Because you are giving it the strength by thinking about it, by playing those roles, accepting those roles. Let those roles go, but you continuously take the position, I am Atma, this is Atma, and it is in spite of the roles, it is in spite of the body, the 5 sheaths, it's in spite of the desires, it's in spite of the convictions, it's in spite of the waking dream and deep sleep, it's in spite of the thoughts. Because all these, that whatever I said, in spite of, all of them put together also cannot reveal the self. This instruction is being given, the final words of advice. Don't make self into an objective pursuit. And how we make it into an objective pursuit? Through thoughts. First through perceptions. And when we are at the level of mind, I understand I can't find the self out there in the world. The self is me. Now, the mind is the challenge. Mind keeps thinking of the self as the word self. I. Who am I? Who am I? It's not who am I? It's stupid or what? Who am I? You don't know who you are? No, I know I am. Then why are you asking who am I? You have never missed yourself. You have never lost yourself. You have never forgotten yourself. Question is, so you have never forgotten yourself. But which one? Now you find out where you are at this moment and come to know in the light of the scriptures that you are the one which is Nitya Siddhaha. The self is self-established. It is not established because you read Vivek Chudamani. It is not established because you contemplated. It is not established because you went to an ashram. It is not established because we went to and took sannyas. Nope. The self is self-established. I am Atma Nitya Siddhaha. Now we are talking about the self. So whenever we think about the self, we must think in this way. That the self that I am, it is self-established, then why am I seeking it? Then why am I thinking about it? Why am I not being it? I am Atma Nitya Siddhaha Pramane Sati Bhasate. And when does it reveal? When does this? So why is this self that I am, which is self-established, that is my true nature, why is it not revealing itself? Tell me one thing. You move around in the day, throughout, you go to work, you go here, you go there, everywhere. Are you all the time behaving as a husband or a wife? Or only the husband reveals when the wife comes in front? Or the wife reveals when the husband comes in front? Does the husband come in front of you or out of you, or reveals to you in front of your children, in front of your employers or employee, in front of your friend? This is the husband speaking. एक पड़ेगी उल्टे हाथ की. ऐसे तो नहीं होता. It doesn't happen like that. See? So same way, this Atma, this self, which is self-established, it reveals when Pramane Sati Bhasate, when all the means are dissolved. What are the means? Now how do you know about any type of means? Only through thoughts, isn't it? When all the thoughts are dissolved, that self-established Atma, self-revealing Atma, self-effulgent Atma, self-knowing Atma becomes available. Is it not available even while the thoughts are there? Yes, it is available. But you won't catch it. How do the masters? Because they have got established in the self. You get there, then you will also be. Then you will not be affected by the thoughts. But we are seekers. So for us, what is it? The moment the means of knowledge are purified, the self is revealed. Purified when they settle down. Means, whether it be a concept, whether it be an example, whether it be an inference, whether it be direct perception, whether it be an imagination about the self, all these different ways are only thoughts in our mind. In the end, I am, that is also a thought in our mind. I am self-established, I am Atma, I am Atma, this is Atma, is also a thought in your mind. When this also settles down, so our thinking, now here, our thinking must be such that it must not lead to more thinking. Our thoughts should be such that they should not lead to more thoughts. Just like desire leads to more desires. And this you have example. You think of sleep, you have a desire for sleep, you want to glide into sleep. That thought of sleep does not lead to more thoughts, isn't it? That's your daily experience. Why? You got data that sleep every day for last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You have been going to sleep every night. You got enough data that when I go to sleep, I get rejuvenated, I get rested, and next day I can jump back into life. And you are going to sleep with an expectation that tomorrow you will be fresh to pursue your desires. The whole game is being changed here. First you become convinced, I am Atma Nitya Siddha. Just like you have become convinced of sleep, that it rejuvenates you, we have to become convinced that this Atma that I am, which is self-revealing, self-established, self-effulgent, is the true me, is my true nature. And for that, I don't need any thought, I don't need any imagination, I don't need any concept, I don't need any emotion, I don't need any logic, I don't need any scriptures. I'm convinced. Then if your intellect is convinced and has faith, then it should quieten. But because it is not convinced, therefore it continues to think, it continues to ideate, it continues to objectify, because it has not given up its love for the world yet. Therefore it feels great, it feels solace, it feels spiritually uplifted that, I go to satsangs, I listen to these thoughts, and I understand also, I'm progressing. Good, nothing wrong with it. It must, which word will click one day? It's only one moment. One click is required. Which satsang will bring it about? His grace. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's the last word. Maybe it's the next word. But the journey must be clear that no means can reveal this self that I am. No means can reveal. When all the means, all the thoughts, all the supports which I had associated, I had started using in order. So I have used conviction in order to know the self. I have used emotion to know the self. I have used the thoughts to know the self. I have utilized the breath to know the self. I have used the body to sit in still for 1 or 2 hours so that I can dive into myself. I have used the scriptures to know the self. But still I am there only. I still don't know myself. We have to give up this. We have to give up all the means and allow the mind to come to the silence. And in that silent mind, just like in that silent waveless ocean, the reflection of the moon reveals itself. It was only covered up by the waves. Same way, the self, which is ever present, is covered up by thoughts, emotions, desires, memories, convictions, doubts, suspicions. In the end, it is covered up by the waves of thoughts. Bring about a disposition wherein all these thoughts subside. And therefore it was told before, one of the verses, expose yourself to silence. Here it is being told that the self will reveal, even though it is ever present, but it will reveal when all the means have subsided, all the thoughts have subsided. Here the word used is Shuddhim. Na desham napi vakalam na shuddhim vapyapekshate. For one's own experience, there are no expectations with reference to time, space, purity, etc. Just like in the 530th verse, Desha, Kala, Asana, directions, etc., etc. All these were, we explained that from both from the master's point of view as well as from the seeker's point of view. Here if the self is to be, here it is told that for the experience of the self, time, space, objectivity, their support is not required. I'll get realized only if I go to Badrinath. I'll get realized only if they say Varanasi is the land of the moksha. That's why I know my friends are there who don't want to come out of Varanasi. Why? Because this is the moksha nagari, is the city of liberation. Liberation of what? Of the self. And he has done PhD in Nyaya. What is self? That is which is all pervading. So is it pervading Varanasi or Varanasi is pervading the self? Phas gaya, he got caught. No, but if I die, I said, but Atma is deathless. What are you talking about dying? You are a sannyasi. How come your attention is going to death? How come your attention, even after doing PhD, is not going to the self? This is called objectification. This is called body identification. Bodily they want to be in, nothing wrong, but the reasons they are giving is wrong. Like in one great Mahatma was there, Swami Swarupananda, Pavas, near Ganpati Pule on the Malabar coast in Maharashtra. He used to live in a hut, and whole life he remained in that hut only. He never near Ratnagiri. 60 kilometers from Ratnagiri is this Pavas. He remained in that only, that hut only. And if any time someone said, let's go here, let's go there, he will do a drama. I got a stomach ache, my body is aching, my doing this, and sometimes he will not eat food. He never left that place. And his body also, he took samadhi also there only in that hut. See? Why? Where I am, there the world is. Not I am in the world. The world is in me. Then who am I? I am that all pervading principle. I am that all knowing principle. I am that all illuminating principle. The shortcoming is we don't accept ourselves to be that. Intellectually we understand, but it remains an objective pursuit. अयम आत्मा नित्य सिद्धः प्रमाणे सति भासते न देशं नापि वा कालं न शुद्धिं वाप्यपेक्षते. The self is ever established. The moment the means of knowledge are purified, the self is revealed. However, for one's own experience, there are no expectations with reference to time, space, purity, etc. No expectations. Because time, space, purity, yama, niyama, all other means, they are because of the self. Self is not because of them. The whole world is because of the self that I am. And if this is not our disposition, then there is only other option, and that is the world was there before I arrived in this world, and world will continue to be there after I depart from this world. Which means I am the body. Until unless this conviction is not replaced by the other conviction that I am that all pervasive self established self illuminating principle, you can cancel a conviction by another conviction only. See? So make the shift. Be available, allow the click to happen. Now that thought continues in the next verse. We'll see it in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a half a minute. Hari Om. See you tomorrow evening.